Congressman, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
And we're News Nation, news for all Americans. So since we're giving a Republican the floor, first we want to hear from Democratic Congressman from New York, Joe Morelli, your colleague. He was on the Hill Sunday and said this. Take a listen.
Members of Congress in the majority are resistant to having a conversation about how to make sure health insurance is affordable for working Americans. And it really bogs my mind to understand what's going on. We should have, and by the way, this big fight was over a short-term Band-Aid that only gets us to January, but Republicans are continuing to refuse to promise to bring to the floor a bill which would extend subsidies.
So we're talking about health care here, what continues to be a real problem and an issue that needs to be sorted out. Is there a plan to address the health care subsidies set to expire? Or, I mean, could there be another shutdown in a couple of months?
Well, that requires some powers of prophecy that I was denied at birth, but I don't believe the subsidies should be expended. I was against them from the beginning. The problem is Obamacare is collapsing of its own weight, and it's got to be replaced. Our health care costs have grown 3 times as fast as inflation and population combined, while patient satisfaction continues to decline. And the fundamental problem, Anna, is that we've severed the connection between the patient and the payer. And what we found is if somebody else is paying the bill, the patient doesn't care about costs, and the payer doesn't care about quality. The connection's got to be restored. And the best way to do that is to restore a competitive health insurance market where patients can shop around among hundreds of plans competing for their business and select the one that best meets their needs and budget. And I think that's the direction that the administration is going with a replacement model.
And so is that replacement, is that plans that we're going to be hearing more about? Are those going to be revealed? I mean, this is a real issue. Medical bills are one of the biggest reasons people go bankrupt.
And the medical bills are being driven by costs that are completely out of control because of the fundamental flaws in the Obamacare plan that we warned about from the beginning. There's an old saying, you can't fill a broken bucket by pouring more water in it. At some time, you've got to fix the bucket, and that time is now.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it has been something Republicans have been shouting from the mountaintops since, 2008 or 9 or whenever it was, and the Tea Party really talked a lot about this. But we need to see some solutions because a lot of Americans are feeling a lot of anxiety about it. We'll switch gears now. Many Americans right now also concerned with affordability, their grocery store bills, their housing bills. Food stamps was a major pain point during the shutdown, as we know, and Politico is now reporting today that the signature tax and spending law championed by Republicans could kick millions out of this anti-hunger program. And Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says recipients will need to reapply. This is all in an effort to combat fraud concerns, of course. Congressman, there could already be a lag, though, for folks needing to get their benefits. Does the timing of all this concern you?
Well, I do think that the administration is doing its best to get things back online after the Democrat shutdown of 43 days. As far as reductions in SNAP, benefits have not been reduced in the slightest. What we've done is to say, look, we're not going to pay for illegal aliens. We are not going to pay for people who are able-bodied, have no dependents, and are simply not willing to hold a part-time job or at least look for a part-time job, or at least train to work for a part-time job. I don't think it's completely unreasonable to say to anyone who's accessing these benefits, if you're able-bodied and able to provide for yourself, we're going to insist that you put in at least half the effort of the families that are paying the taxes to support these programs.
So if you can unpack this for our viewers and help everybody understand how it works. So SNAP benefits are what we used to call food stamps. It's federal dollars, right, but administered by the state. And there are already, hoops that people do have to jump through. Will those hoops get smaller, I guess, for some states, or how is all this going to work? Has that been laid out for you?
As the Secretary of Agriculture announced, we want you to reapply because we are afraid there are many, many millions of fraudulent claims in this system. I mean, its costs have expanded exponentially. And as I said, we're going to insist that if you're able-bodied, you at least look for a part-time job.
Sure. All right, we're going to turn now to Trump's illegal immigration crackdown. We talked about it at the very top of the show. Border Patrol officials now very active in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Democratic Governor Josh Stein is urging residents to remain peaceful. We've watched some of them protesting. He is also encouraging residents there, though, to film anything they think constitutes inappropriate conduct. Trump campaigned on getting the worst first. Some of the viral videos appear to say otherwise, according to his critics now. After watching everything unfold in your state, you're from California, of course, how can they make sure things don't swirl out of control like it did in Los Angeles?
Well, the doctrine of nullification died with the Confederacy, and yet that's what's being brought back by these so-called sanctuary states like California and Illinois that are actively resisting federal law. Federal law is extremely clear. The Immigration and Nationality Act specifically says that anyone who is in this country illegally, underline that word illegally, shall be detained. There is no discretion there. They shall be detained. This is the law that the Biden administration ignored for 4 years and encouraged the largest illegal mass migration in the history of this country. It shouldn't surprise anyone that the biggest illegal mass migration must now be followed by the biggest legal repatriation. And that's what the federal government is doing. It is enforcing existing federal law. If the left doesn't like that, they can change the law, but they cannot obstruct it and they cannot refuse to enforce it. And that's the crux of the matter. It is the rule of law in a federal government where federal law is universal throughout the country.
Republican California Congressman Tom McClintock, thank you for weighing in. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.